Canto number 9. Having exhausted its day's worth, the sun sets and dusk reigns, bringing a certain crispness to the air. It chills his wild dark hair as in Clark's innermost ear a voice that names him Air whispers, riding the wind through swaying stalks. Out amongst them he walks, the voice taking him to a spot near a pond where he is oft wont to play. Here between the hillocks by the road to town, where it crosses the edge of the Kent property and divides it from John Ross's, Callel will become properly acquainted, he'll think, with a ghost. A green unearthly film coats the pond's still, algae-free waters. These swirl, make a mockery of the Milky Way galaxy. Then from this fakery's spiral core it upward bloats, the hoary host, capturing Clark's stare as it towers over the prairie, long white locks flowing out and hanging down across, a stylized S emblazoned on its nude ectoplasmic chest. Emitting no sound, its mouth moves. Red suns flare up in front of its eyes. Then these spheres pop and the tension stops, and Clark finds himself suddenly aware. A flood of blue blood blazes in his veins, transmutes the farm boy back into the son, whose father's pride he'd surely have won, had he not been torn from the world to which he was rightly born. He kneels. Assuming he knows the image, he presumes to speak its native meter. The rising and setting sun, S-O-N, first soliloquy of our hero. Father, Father, here I am. Teach me. You were a prophet, no, preacher of doom, that dreary word. Yes, your voice resonates in my soul as it rocks the council halls, and the elders listen to your petition but laugh in your face. They condemn themselves, lying down in disgrace, and make me last of my race as they're crushed by crumbling walls. Such was their tomb, and yours and mother's too, and I can view in this vision of night, through tears that drown more ready sight, the picture of shifting plates in upheaval. The very ground revolts and grinds your bones to dust. This end, I trust, was fate's decree to all our folks save I, for before you gave your final cry, you put me in a rocket ship and sent me on a one-way trip far from your dying world. You hurled me to this place across vast expansions of space, and have watched me genuflect at an altar that is surely tainted in your all-seeing eyes. My speech falters, but you must realize that whence I came was a mystery to me prior to this revelation. I have no cause for guilt. I have but knelt to the spirits nearest my waking heart, as taught in rituals practiced by forebears more intimate than you have been, my liege. Now this rude awakening, I see it so as the initial exhilaration fades, signals the start of a siege. Shade falls. A pale of ignorance is cast where you would have sown light. I am thrust into shadow, knowing not to which quarter my loyalty should be granted. So I'll keep to old appearances until change is wrought by circumstance. No decision tonight, Father, forgive me. Division's seed is sown in my heart, and I fear that unless you disown me, and so usurp my choice, we will be forced presently to part. The night sky, alive with emerald fires that writhe, suggesting the outline of his long deceased sire, rumbles as Clark's declaration, stated in an elevation by spectral influence brought, ends. Magical lightning flashes, descends from the heavens to the pool below to hold Clark in its electric arms. A breeze rises. He wades into the reeds, tumbles into depths awe-sparkling, alive with an ethereal energy that supplants his need for air and tends his thoughts toward tales told by Kryptonians from time immemorial, legends of heroes bold, deeds of greatness, and quests for glory, stories he will hold in deepest memory. Thus is he schooled in the grand tradition, made to serve a dynasty of rulers felled, and linked to the vitality of dead generations that meld into him and live again by, through, and in him. As this ancestral chorus chants the most triumphal hymns in Krypton's collective mind, the rechristened Cal can't help but find the houses of El and Kent alike in dignity, with each its deference to impart him. But his heart's present master won't condone the difference. One course alone he insists his son must take. This answer to his challenge causes Clark to flail in the nascent lake, striving after wisps of green, the tenuous tendons that lend Jor-El, his shade, its mystic shape. They slip through his fingers. One supposed father dissipates into morning mists, while another, more solid, nears. Usually more stolid, Eben Kent has grown dour through many hours of search. His hopes sink further as he rushes forward and the image under water clears, appearing to confirm his worst fear, that his charge has drowned. But then at the border of the pond he is by some dark power thrown down, made to cower in the presence of an otherworldly scourge strong enough to bend trees which long have kept the wind from clearing men off the prairie, one able to mold a twister of itself and blast the water whole, casting its captive up with all the mud and muck into clear skies. Clark twirls in its eye as the shiny funnel of scheming sentient steam teases Eben by licking the tips of his bare toes as it wryly shows him glimpses of the boy's calm smile, a radiant contrast to the chaos afoot in the land. Frozen atop a hillock, his forced stillness mocked by the wily storm, Eben wrings his hands, feeling anguish born in sleepless worry, until the torrent stops suddenly and scurries away as if in fright, and Clark falls like a feather and alights into his waiting arms. The child's valor abates as the shimmering vapors evaporate. He clings and cries. Shimmering vapors evaporate. Pa tries to give him comfort, tenderly gazing into vain, weary little eyes, orbs which, though once innocent, are now by torment tainted. Then in seeming reply to Pa's concern, their blue lenses burn and spit forth ruby beams that singe his cheeks. He screams, spills Clark into the mire, and runs home holding his face, trying to contain the pain of fire. Encrusted in filth, Clark sits, Memory of the faith entrusted to him of late fades along with the golden halo whose glow had aided his descent. He whimpers in renewed ignorance and at his dual loss, for he has dismissed the old troops who passed in review, and unwittingly spurned the man who weaned him, too. Later, mother will clean him. As for father and son, neither speaks to the other for a long time to come.